Welcome, everyone. I am Julia Armstrong, a member of the board of the Culinary Historians of Canada. And I'd like to welcome you to our ongoing series, Behind Every Great Cook is a Great Mother. And this is hosted again by CHC member John Ota. So without further ado, I'd like to pass it over to John Ota, who is the author of The Kitchen, A Journey Through Time in the Homes of Julia Child, Georgia O'Keeffe, Elvis Presley, and many others in search of the perfect design.
Thank you, Julia. Our guest today is Joe Thottungal. Joe Thottungal was born in the state of Kerala in South India. He received his hotel management and catering diploma from a culinary institute in nearby Madras. So Joe has worked in Mumbai, Saudi Arabia. In 1998, he immigrated to Canada. Joe started his Canadian culinary journey at Chantro Bar and Grill in Toronto. He moved on to the Royal York Hotel. Then he worked at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Ottawa. His passion for cooking and serving guests gave birth to the Coconut Lagoon restaurant. This is his own venture where he displays his talents and showcases the exclusive cuisine of Kerala with a modern twist. And his restaurant, Coconut Lagoon, is in Ottawa. He's won a whole list of awards. In 2018, Joe launched a lunch place right at the heart of downtown Ottawa and serves tally lunch at communal tables. I love tally, Joe.
Yes,
really
yeah.
And he also launched his cookbook, Coconut Lagoon. Thank you very much for being here, Joe.
Yeah, thank you, John and Julia. Yeah.
So, Joe, would you be able to tell us about your mom and growing up and cooking?
Yes, I know. First of all, every mother out there, happy Mother's Day in advance, okay, from us, from me actually, and to my mother also. And my mother actually is in Canada right now. She is in Ottawa here. So I wish her all the very best for the Mother's Day. And as you know, I was we were four kids in my family and 4 boys. And my mother and father was a working parent. So they were working. So they Monday to Saturday, they used to work. So they plan everything way in advance, and she cooks in the early morning and pack up the lunch, the breakfast, the lunch, then come back after work. She start cooking for the dinner. So that was her chores every day, 7 days a week, no rest, like that. It was because 6 people in the family, and she was the main cook in the kitchen, basically. In India, traditionally, moms are in the kitchen all the time. No men will go and help, little bit of help by shopping and things like that. But she used to cook everything pretty much with the help of a servant, but she does the full in charge of the kitchen. So I respect that. And she was on time because we need to go to school. My dad has to go to office and my mother has to leave. And there is some kind of deadline. You have to get out of the house by 9 o'clock. So she was on time. There is no delays, because if you miss a bus, then you get problems in the office or the school. So we are always on time. So the memories.
So what kinds of dishes did she make?
Oh, she makes all kind of things. Breakfast was idlis or doshas, the chapatis, all these Indian dishes. Maybe eggs in the morning, things like that. But traditionally Indian breakfast, for breakfast and lunch, always one rice. Rice is always a staple. Then we have one saucy curry and one dry dish, like always a sauce to go on the rice and a dry dish. So 2 dishes at least for lunch. And dinner, maybe a meat once in two times a week, she will cook some meat. But always vegetarian or lentils or pulses, things like that. Whatever is available, easy to get and readily available in our farm, backyard or whatever, we use mangoes, We use coconut a lot. That is why I come from the land of coconut. Kerala literally means land of coconut. So pretty much all the curries are, there is one ingredient out of coconut in everything. It could be a coconut oil, coconut milk, or grated coconut, grinded coconut, things like that. So they used to make all these, and we enjoy as a family, dinner time. We are always on a one table, even in the breakfast also. But lunch, as we are studying and my mother and father was working, they eat out in the offices, but at dinner time, we as a family, we get together, enjoy the meal. That was
Isn't
our
that nice?
memory.
What was your kitchen like?
Oh, it was not a big, huge kitchen, because in India, some houses have the small kitchen, but everything was around it. And a lot of things were outside. You can sit down and chop your things outside, because the weather is beautiful all the time. And refrigeration was there, one fridge was there, but everything else was done manually. There is not too much grinders or, hand blenders, things like that. Nothing was there. So that was, because I'm talking about 80s or beginning of 90s, So those time, not too much mechanized things. Everything was hand, the mortar and pestle, things like that. We used to grind in a stone, things like that. But it has very good taste, authentic taste, because it was done by hand, not by machines, and the cuttings were done by chopping by hand, things like that. So it was very unique, very, very nice. But it's not a big kitchen, but it was a fair, decent sized kitchen. Yeah.
Good. So how do those things affect the way you cook now at Coconut Lagoon?
Big time. So my mother, as I mentioned, we were all in a limited budget, and food waste was very important. We never waste in our kitchens, whatever we have, we try to use it up. And that is the main one best thing I learned from my mother is waste management, not wasting too much, and time management. Because I was like, we were on a schedule, if my mother didn't wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning or 10 minutes after 5, she is in big trouble. So she always keep up the time. And I noticed how important is time. So that I follow up throughout my career. If my shift starts at 8, I will be there at 7:45, no matter what, or 7:50, the latest, because I need to have that time. And time is precious, because nobody will wait. If our lunches are not ready, it's not possible to skip the bus and go in another bus and all that. It's to go to school or into the office. So we always very much aware about the time. And another thing I learned from my mother, as I can mention, is hospitality. Whoever comes to my house, we will feed them at least a glass of water or a juice or whatever is available in the kitchen. We try to give them. And I think that was one of the best thing I still remember. Whoever walks in as a guest to my restaurant or to my house, I tend to offer whatever is available. Doesn't matter. It could be a small piece of a chip, but I try to share with them. That I learned from my childhood. And I am very thankful for having that gesture to ask at least the guest, what do you like to have, a glass of water? Some places I go, there is no hospitality. Nobody will ask anything, just stand and talk and leave, So, but I am blessed with that kind of behavior, which I think is very precious. That is what I remember on my mother's thing. Yeah.
Great. So what are some of the specialties that you serve at Coconut Lagoon? I think that I read where you combined traditional Kerala with new Kerala. Is that right?
Yeah, little bit of what, because if you cook it very authentic, people in Canada won't like it very much. But what we do is we use the same recipe, but try to use the vegetables or the meat which is popular in Canada. Maybe example is a salmon. The salmon, we don't get it in Kerala, but the curry, the sauce I make is same as what we make it in Kerala, but we change the fish and give the salmon curry. So the people are very familiar and they will enjoy it, you know, because their taste buds are tuned to have that. If a dish wants some mushroom, other vegetables, which is Indian vegetable, I will change into mushrooms. I add some nice mushrooms, which is grown in Ontario, you know, so during the season. So they will enjoy more that dish than adding some Indian vegetable, which much people are not familiar with. So it is always, I do, but we keep the same recipe. We don't want it to, you know, flip-flop the recipe. We just keep the same things, but we try to do different meats, whatever the people like here. We may tone down a little bit the spices, but we will still add everything, you know, but in a normal, in a minimal way. But we will try to show that same recipe, but little bit of different ingredients, whatever is available in Canada and the people the most like, you know. So that is what we do. And it's always beautiful curries. As I mentioned, because Kerala, the land I come from, is land of coconut. So that is why we got the name Coconut Lagoon, because Kerala literally means land of coconut. And there is a lot of backwaters and lagoons. So that is why we represent our restaurant name itself. So pretty much 80% of our menu items will have one ingredient of coconut. So maybe a coconut milk, grated coconut, you know, coconut oil, and those are very unique flavor. When you try with the meat, with the mushrooms and things like that, with the fish, it's very unique. So we make good curries, and in Thali, we change our menu every day. So lot of dishes comes out every day is from my childhood. You know, some dishes what my mother used to make in a fly, you know, like potato curry or some lentils or things like that. We always change, and we make a lot of different pickles, which my mother was an expert in cooking. You know, like pickles was one of her very good point. So she enjoys cooking different pickles, and we enjoy them on monsoon time when everything is raining. We don't have much fresh vegetables. We enjoy those pickles with the rice. Those are beautiful. That is what I am craving for. If I go home, I will ask mom what kind of pickles you have. So she make garlic, she makes carrots, gooseberries, you know, mango, different things, you know, fish pickles and meat pickles and things like that. So those ones, that was her specialty, which I still crave for.
So maybe we should explain about thali. So thali is this platter with all these different little dishes on it that you can try.
Yeah, so basically in Indian cuisine, we don't eat a full steak or a full chicken breast as a dinner or lunch. What we do as an Indian, we need a small bowl of rice. We need one or two different curries with the saucy dishes, you know, maybe one with the dry dish. And we always like to have lentil dish to go with the meals, you know. We like to have some yogurt on the side, you know. We like to have a spicy chutney or pickle on the side. So thali is a platter with a bowl of rice and different curries around it, you know, in small bowls. We don't want too much portion. We need but different taste. It should be salty, sour flavor, spicy, it's sweet, you know, all these combination of flavors. So when you have a thali, you're not stuck with one meal, one full meat or one dish. You know, you get variety of dish and all are different flavors. So you enjoy it, mix it up with a piece of papadam or a piece of bread, you know, you enjoy every different curry, and if you want to mix it up, you mix it up. So in thali, there is no set menu. We make our dishes according what we get every day. So today, if we have beets with coconut, tomorrow will be with parsnip or with carrots. We try to mix it up all the time. So if you eat thali 2 times a week, both times you will get totally different dishes. So that makes the thali very unique, and it's not a fancy lunch. It's just calm. You enjoy a meal and go. That
Joe,
is
I
what
think I want to move to Ottawa.
you should come by. Yeah,
You
Ottawa
want to
is one
move
of
there
the good
now?
culinary scenes now. Yeah, you should come by.
So we're coming up to the last minutes of the of our interview. This has been great. I'm starving now. Julia, do you have any Q's and A's from people who are watching?
Yes, just unmuting myself here, John. Yes, I have some questions for Joe.
Yes, no problem.
Fiona
Happy to
asks,
answer.
does your mother like it when you cook for her, or does she prefer to cook for you?
No, other way around, but not always. So when I go vacation or she comes my house once in a week or twice a week, like I try to do one dish, not everything. And what I cook for her won't be Indian much. I will be cooking a nice steak or a nice roast potato, a chicken, which is roasted with a nice fresh herbs and potato, things like that. She enjoys that kind of food. And I wanted to give her the taste, what we have it here. And when I go to India in my house also, I try to do different dishes. Normally, she don't make it in her house, Maybe a North Indian dish I try to make, whichever restaurant kind of food, in a hotel setting, because my mother is not a trained chef. So she cooks what her mother used to cook or her sisters used to cook. So it's not a restaurant style of food. It's a home-based cook. So I don't want to replicate, and I am in a business where we need to do it in a professional way. Every mothers are good cooks, but to do it in a restaurant setup, it takes a lot of efforts and, training and principles and things what we can use. So when I go home, I try to make 1 or 2 restaurant dishes or something which is new to her, and she will enjoy it, and she will give me comments, could be done this way or that way. But I respect that, and I do cook, and I love to have her meals too all the time when I go. But it's very often, because once in a while I go to India. But right now she is in Canada, so she's switching over, 1 week in my house, 1 week in my brother's house. So when she comes in, she try to cook. My wife cooks a lot, and I do cook my day off and all that. I do roast some beef or some chicken, things like that, to give her a different taste. Yes.
Wonderful. Sylvia would like to know, is there a flavor or dish from your childhood that you can't get in Ottawa that you miss the most? And perhaps your mother has mentioned one that she misses too.
Yeah, because in certain dishes, we use coconut vinegar, which is a very, very unique taste, okay? So even if you may make a good pickle or something in that line, maybe a good fish curry, we add a touch of coconut vinegar, which I cannot find it here. Sometimes I find it in some specialty stores, but if you get that coconut vinegar, it's very unique. You can even add it into your salads and salad dressings and things like that, which has very unique, especially when you make a good mango pickle or a fish pickle or whatever. This coconut vinegar is very unique, and it's hard to get it. So whenever I go back home, I try to make a pickle, a lot of batches of pickle, and we bring it home, and it's preserved, it's kept a long time. So we have it always stashed in our fridge, and we use it little bit at a time. So I think that one for me, that brings a lot of memories. The vinegar, the coconut vinegar, brings a lot of good home cooking, so because they use a touch And these vinegars are made with toddy, you know, like the things which we taken out from the coconut trees, and it's fresh. It's done in the backyard. They bring it and they do the thing and make a vinegar, which I miss a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
One more question for you, Joe, and
Yeah.
it's similar to a question we asked our guest yesterday. What do you think is the most important thing a mother can pass down to a child about food and cooking? And do mothers have a different role in teaching their children about food and cooking now, or should they?
Yeah, there is always, it's changing. Everything is not like before. Everything was done by hand, chopping, you know, you go yourself, you buy small batches of things. Now you are buying everything in bulk. You go to Costco or whatever places, you buy a lot, bring it. But earlier days, you know, olden days, we only buy for the day or two. You know, we never keep too much in refrigerators. We just keep it in the fresh. We bring it, we cut them up, cook it right away, and enjoy it. And all these things, and the mother can teach the basics. You can switch it over, but you should know the basics. Basics makes a lot of difference. If the base is not right, you cannot build on anything. So the basic things, you know, no wastage on food, selecting the good vegetables or the meat and things like that is very important. That you learn from your mother. If it is, take a tomato, and if it is spoiled or it's not good, the mother will show, oh, this is not good, or can we save some, or we can use it a little bit, or you should throw it out in the garbage. All these techniques you should learn as a child. You cannot, because that will make you a better chef or cook, or, you know, homemade cook, whatever, you know. Those are the things you can learn from my mother. And I think it is very important. Everybody should be spend once at least a day in kitchens, what they do. Because for me, I think mother's job is not recognized by hour or by what she does. It's a you cannot put a quantity or the price what they do. They do a lot of things. They clean up the kitchen, they keep the place clean, they check the inventory, what we need for tomorrow. All these things a mother does it, you know. They fold the napkins, they fold the towels, you know, things which we think, oh, this is done automatically. But mothers, so I always recommend you should spend a day with them in the kitchen if they are doing it, and learn the basics. The wastage is very important, because in Canada, especially in Canada, I was reading an article, we throw out a lot of food, which there is people out there cannot even afford to have one meal a day. So we should be very aware about what we throw out, what we can be used, how to be used, and make it tasty, to share with people. All these things, I think a mother will be a good teacher and nobody else. I think that is where you will start.
Wonderful. What great advice, and a lovely sentiment for Mother's Day, a true gift. And
Yes.
maybe everyone will think about cooking together with their moms if they can,
Yes.
or with their moms this year. And if not, perhaps over FaceTime or something.
And this is the time we should all practice, sharpen your knives and do home cooking. This is the time, because we won't get any more time like this in the near future. You know, we will all come out and we will run around again, you know. So this is the right time. And I recommend try our cookbook also, which is very, very popular, you know, Coconut Lagoon. Try it, 1 or 2 dishes every week. Everybody, cooking is not a rocket science, but learning and the basics is more important, and anybody can be a good cook.
Wonderful. Well, I'm going to pass it back to you now, John. And
Thank you, Julia. What nice answers. My goodness.
yes.
Joe, can we please see your cookbook again? Let's just, and we can get that at an independent bookstore,
Or go, Amazon has it. I think all the chapters and Indigo, all those bookstores will sell it. Yeah.
Coconut Lagoon.
Yeah,
From
that's
the
good.
Coconut Lagoon restaurant in Ottawa. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you,
Thank you,
John.
Julia. In the meantime, please stay well. Please stay strong and happy cooking. Thank you very much.